Hey guys, it's my absolute pleasure to bring to you today a review in comparison of the STI DVC CARRY and the STI VIP Ludus. Guys, so welcome as we look today at the Costa Ludus VIP from STI and the DVC CARRY. One of the reasons that I'm doing this video is quite simple. I get questions all the time as to which handgun I prefer, but a lot of people are looking to buy one of these 2011s and they're not used to 2011s, they don't have a history of 2011s, and so this is kind of give you an overview of the reliability that I've had with these guns, the price, all those different types of things, because these are monumental purchases. The DVC CARRY right here comes in at $3,000, right? And the Ludus VIP comes in at $2,600. So when we look at these price tags, we have to ask ourselves the question, we have to be well informed before we make any kind of purchases. Now, to give you a full disclosure, I did not pay for either of these guns. I know life sucks, guys, but that's just the reality. You know, STI was like, hey, listen, we like you, we like what you're about, we'd love to send you some guns. I said, sure, go ahead. They said, pick which guns you want to send. I picked these two, and so far we've got 3,500 rounds and 3,200 rounds through these guns, and they've been cleaned approximately. This has been wiped down and wiped down in lube. This has been wiped down in lube, and it's been both at about 1,200 rounds. So I'm very impressed with the reliability, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. But let's just kind of go over some of the aesthetics differences and the functionality differences between these two pistols first. So the primary difference between these two pistols is that the Ludus VIP is longer. All right? It's a little bit longer, and of course they look like different guns. But if you notice, you got a rail here on the Ludus VIP and not on the DVC CARRY. We're gonna show you, I've got two lights here, show you kind of what it looks like with a light on and off. So here we go, we got the Enforce APL. It's got a nice flush look to it, I dig it. I just wish the light was a lot more reliable. X300 Ultra UB, not as flush, but very, very bulky, very expensive, lots of lumens, and very durable. So not only do we have that difference, we also have the window cuts. See these window cuts? A lot of people are starting to do these nowadays. Reduces the weight of the slide, makes it track back and move a little bit faster. For the size of the pistol, it recoils actually extremely well. And a little bit of aesthetics there, kind of nice. If you notice, I don't know if you can notice in this light, the rose-colored gold barrel. But after 3,000 rounds plus, it's starting to wear. It's starting to lose its luster. Got a little chip there. A 2011 is a 1911 platform, obviously, right? Same kind of platform. But the difference is that instead of it being a 45 in single stack, a 2011 is a 9mm double stack. So it's very highly popularized in the race gun community and the competition community. But now they're starting to become options to carry them as personal defense weapons. And that's what these two pistols are. They're personal defense, carry these types of pistols, weapons. So let's just take a moment to appreciate the glory of these pistols real fast. Of course, the stippling looks like it was done by a 5-year-old. It's just horrible stippling. And that's one of the comments that I keep getting on Instagram and on Facebook, is that you think after spending $2,600 or $3,000 they wouldn't look like they were stippled by a toddler, but they are. You can switch those out if you don't want them. One thing that I don't like about the Ludus is that it got Chris Costa's name on it with his little emblem here. Not hating Chris Costa, I love the guy, I think he's fantastic, though I've never met him. He's a super dude, and from what I've heard about him. But I don't want your name on the side of my pistol, bro. Let's go to the DVC CARRY. Get some some of that sunlight on there. Looks very nice. But ultimately the pistol grip is going to be the same length. Pistol grip is going to be the same length because they take the same magazines. Okay. These triggers, I don't know if you can see this, but there's nothing to it. You know, this is what makes these single action guns so dope. Very little trigger movement, you can fire them stupid fast, and both the triggers are pretty much the exact same. There's slight little difference, but nothing that the average person is going to be able to tell between the two. These sights are like basically Trigicon. It's kind of like an eye dot setup, so you got a tritium back here and you got a tritium up here. But this, I don't like this front sight. I've tried swapping them out for the fiber optics that STI sent. I didn't like them, so I just went back to these kind of carry sights, so to speak. That's one of my main gripes about this pistol, other than the stippling job, is it's just the sights. I'm just not a big fan. Now, practicality, as far as when you get them at night, they work great, fantastic, right? Especially no light or low light, but it's just kind of weird. Let's see if I can't get this up here closer so you can see what's going on here. Yeah, just kind of weird. Sometimes that white falls out or gets mangled up, and same kind of sights that are on them. Well, Barrett, which one's your favorite one to shoot? We'll get to that here in a second. Let's just do some shooting and appreciate these pistols, right, for what they are. We're at 20 yards. It's so much fun. I can't describe how fun they are. So that was the DVC carry. And here's the Ludus, right? You're not gonna be, I don't think you're gonna be able to tell that much difference between just by watching me shoot them like that. Let's go to slow-mo and look at them from the side. But Barrett, are these guns accurate? Well, like we've talked about with accuracy in the past, accuracy has everything to do with the ability of the shooter to press the trigger without moving the gun. Sorry for the wind. We're at 50 yards here, and because these trigger pulls are so light and they're just straight back and they're not on a fulcrum like a Glock or most polymer guns are, it's a little bit easier for the shooter to be accurate with these guns. Let's do some shooting, shall we? We got the Ludus VIP. Just over and over again, right? Put the Ludus VIP away. Pull out my DVC carry. Now, one of the things for me when it comes to shooting a handgun is how quickly can I shoot the handgun and still keep the handgun on target? Does the gun help me keep the handgun on target? Well, let's see where we're at. We're at 10 yards. Kind of fast. A little fast. Let's do it again. Couple misses. That's okay. It's the Ludus. Here's the DVC carry. So you see, I'm not really a fast shooter. I just can't pull the trigger as fast as what these guns have been designed to pull them. So when it comes to these two handguns, Barrett, which do you prefer? That's a good question. Glad you've asked it. Primarily for me, if I had to choose to buy either of these two guns, whether it be the Ludus VIP or the DVC CARRY, I'm gonna buy the Ludus VIP. Now, that's not to say that this isn't a fantastic pistol. The aesthetics are better. I like the window cuts. It looks a little bit more modern. The gun recoils and tracks very, very well. But for me, the Ludus is the one I'm going to carry. And the one I'm going to spend money on. The price difference is a $400 difference, and I'm not really seeing the difference between the two pistols. So with that said, let me talk with you about why I like the VIP from Costa Ludus. Primarily for me, the gun just feels and tracks better. It's a little bit longer, so it has a full slide radius or slide length to be able to track, and feels a little bit smoother that way. So another reason why I'm going to choose the Ludus over the DVC CARRY is that it has the ability to mount a light. For a lot of people, that's a big deal. For me, it's not really a big deal, but for a home defense weapon, like I have this weapon set up as, that's an important thing for me. Now, the reliability of the two pistols that I found the Ludus to be a little bit more reliable, and when it comes to a carry pistol, that's the biggest thing for me. I can shoot any pistol. I can shoot a Glock, right? It's about the reliability of the pistol. Is the pistol going to work every single time? And because it's a single action and hammer fired, you're not going to have really a lot of light primer strikes that are due to the gun. It's going to be probably because of the ammo. So I've never had an issue like that. But the issues that I've had in 3,000 rounds, I've had 3 malfunctions. I've had a stovepipe and 2 failure to feeds with the DVC CARRY, and with the Ludus, I've had the 1 stovepipe and 1 failure to feed. Now, they've both been cleaned roughly. This was cleaned at 1,000, 1,100 rounds. This was cleaned at 1,200 rounds. And when I say cleaned, I don't know how to clean a 2011 intricately and detailedly like some professionals do. I took it apart, field stripped them, wiped them down, and re-lubed them. So that's what I mean when I say cleaned. And for the fact that they're about 3,200, 3,400 rounds going strong, I'm really impressed with the reliability of these pistols. One of the reasons why I decided not to go with the DVC CARRY is because of the window cuts. Now, with like Glocks and polymer gun platforms, if you have window cuts in there, you think that getting dirt in them will cause them to malfunction and things like that. That's partially true. It all depends on the medium. It all depends on what's going in there, so on and so forth. But with polymer guns, because they have such loose tolerances and their tolerances are not tight, dirt, gunk, and grime can get in there, sand, dust, dirt, and it's going to function and work pretty well. And we've seen those and tested those with the salient arms, my salient arms tier 1, my utility, and we've seen that over and over again. But when it comes to 2011s and 1911s, it's the exact opposite. The more stuff that gets in there, I found, the more it just has a difficult time cycling. You can feel the dirt and the grime, and it doesn't feel like it's going to track or be very reliable. But at the end of the day, they're both great pistols. I think the DVC CARRY is worth the price tag of $3,000. I think the Ludus is worth a $2,600 price tag. If I only had that much money to spend, which one would I buy? Giving all the testing and hindsight, I'd go with the Ludus. And like I said before, I didn't pay anything for these pistols. The STI sent them to me. They like my media, they like my stuff, like you guys do. And so they sent me these guns, and they said, hey, do what you want to with them, beat them to hell, do whatever you want. I'm like, okay, sure, that's easy to do. I'll just shoot them. And a lot of people see that as me being, as that not coming from an honest perspective or a biased perspective, an unbiased perspective. But you've got to keep in mind something. I have no investment in these guns. I've got a couple of buddies, you probably know who they are, that like to open up their mouth and say things like, oh, I spent my own money on this, I didn't get it for free, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine, but what you got to understand is that they have made a $3,000 investment. They've made a $2,000 investment. And that investment forces them, whether they want to admit it or not, to be biased. And I like STI after using with them, but before I even got them, before I even was talking with STI, I made sure to let them know I've seen your guns. I've seen your race guns break and not work. I had a student who came and did privates with me. He had 3 different STI race guns. They were the exact same thing. And I said, why do you have 3 that are the exact same thing? He goes, because every 50 to 100 rounds, I've got to clean one. So I just decided to bring 3 so that they would keep working. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I let STI know this, and I told them my experiences with your guns is that they break. And they said, we're gonna send you some guns and then test them. You tell us what you think after that. And I'm glad that they did, because I have changed my opinion of these particular 2 models entirely. I guess it's because people wanna work and fondle with their guns, so on and so forth. But neither here or there, I digress. I didn't spend any money. The only thing I've spent is time and ammo on these things, but I've not really spent ammo because I get that for free thanks to Nevada Ammunition. And so I can actually look at these guns from an objective mindset. I can say whatever I want to about these guns because I'm not under contract with the STI or anybody else, and I can say whatever I want to about these guns. So there's your review for you, all you haters. Oh man, neither here nor there. I like these pistols. You want to buy, you want to ask some questions, ask me. But gotta understand, I don't know a whole heck of a lot about 2011 and 1911 guns. There are people out there who've forgotten more about these types of guns than I have, and so I'm probably not the best to ask those technical questions to. If you're interested, I'm gonna leave you a link down in the description to check out these guns and their specs and all those different types of things. I've hoped you enjoyed this. Yeah. Nothing else to say. True Exodus. Hold fast, stay the course. Out. And people are going to ask me, Barrett, what holster you use? I use the Aegis from TR1 Concealed with both guns. Here's a little bit of the longer one. Kind of sticks out just ever so slightly. Of course, he trimmed that for me. So if you're interested, send TR1 Concealed an email. The safety can still be moved. I'm sure if you message him and tell him that you don't want that done, he could make it to where it doesn't do that, so that's pretty interesting. Now let me show you how it prints and what it looks like. Completely, you can't even tell I'm carrying a pistol, right? Because I'm not. Okay. It's kind of a thin, kind of pullover. Your lines. Just make sure that when you're drawing with this 2011, you keep your finger in line with the slide by keeping your thumb draped across kind of this safety area, because as soon as this gun comes up, the gun clears, safety comes off, right? People ask me like, hey, when does the safety come off? My safety comes off about right here, but in my draw step, it goes like this. Right. Let's get the t-shirt so you can see what that looks like. I'm not gonna take it all the way off because it's kind of cold. Well, now you got some printing issues going on because of the wind.